If you've been wanting to make something unique with your Glowforge, I have a cool project for you. You can find the full tutorial as well as the free file for your Glowforge at my site, pineapplepaperco.com. Let's get started. First, I'm going to cut out everything on my Glowforge. If you don't know what a Glowforge is, it's a 3D laser printer or cutter that you can use to create awesome designs with wood, acrylic, metal, and more. And if you check out the link below, you can actually save up to $500 on your own Glowforge machine. Also, I have tons of Glowforge projects coming up, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that way you see all of my upcoming videos. All of these pieces are available in the SVG file that will import right into the Glowforge app. I'm using this string of fairy lights that are LED and on this really bendable thin wire to light the inside of my light box type design. The back panel of the sign has a hole in it where the fairy lights feed in, and then I'm going to use electrical tape to attach. I placed the next layer on top so I could see where the lights needed to kind of be inside of that frame because I'm going to glue the rest of the pieces on top of this back panel. Let's speed this process up so you can see how everything comes together. Okay, I'm just about done here. You can see I've spaced out all of my lights. It's a little tricky because these fairy lights are made with a lot of wire in between each light. So I kind of curled the wire around so I could space the lights out so that way whenever everything's lit, I get a really even lit surface. I was a little bit worried by bending this around. I was going to make it so it didn't light up, but I'm going to test it and it's totally fine. So I just have a little bit more of this light to tape down. So I'm going to tuck it all in the middle. And then I'm going to put the acrylic on top just to make sure that I have an even lit surface. You can see here that I'm just about finished. I'm using a little bit of extra electrical tape to make sure all of the wires are flat. I wanted to keep the lights at the very back of the light source so you didn't see the beads of light as much through the acrylic. Now you can see, like if I lay it down on there, you can see how it'll be, but if I pull it up, then the light is diffused a little bit. So that's why I created additional pieces that will layer on this back panel, and then I will put the acrylic on. I'm using Beacon Power-Tac. It's one of my favorite glues. Beacon Adhesives makes an incredible line of glues, and I found that this holds together all of the draft board pieces as well as the acrylic pieces really, really well. And it dries quickly, so I don't have a ton of time. I'm waiting for everything to dry. The tricky part about this glue is that it's really, really, really sticky. So I'm going to try to create as small of a bead as possible around the edge. Otherwise, it'll be all over my hands. I'm going to clean the tip of my glue off a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I'm a very impatient crafter, so I like things that dry quickly, that I don't have to wait overnight for. It's amazing that I can do things like glitter tumblers because you have to be so patient. Beacon Power-Tac is really great for that. Because it dries super fast. I mean, I just press it down and honestly, like unless I really move it around, this isn't going anywhere. So this is the first border type layer, it's going to create that space in between the lights and the acrylic. You can see that all of the lights and the string are inside of that border, so I did a pretty good job, and I'm just going to give this a press down, and we're going to keep going. Depending on the acrylic that you use, you can use more of these border layers in between the acrylic and the lights if you want to. I really didn't care so much. I didn't want this to be a super thick sign because I'm going to use it for like a tiered display. So it's going to end up about 3/4 of an inch thick, maybe a little less. And that's with using the 1/4 inch back piece of board. And then I used 1/8 inch draft board for all of these middle pieces. There's the second one. And now we're just going to repeat for the last one. Now it's time for the acrylic. I'm going to tilt this up that way you can see it. You can see it's getting pretty thick. It's about 1/2 inch thick. And we still have the acrylic and then the details to go on top. I chose pink acrylic. I just love using pinks and purples and all kinds of different colors with Halloween. I think using non-traditional colors is really fun and unexpected. And this year I'm super into these pastel colors. You can see when I turned it on, you can see a little bit more of that bead of light coming through, but I promise it's just mostly my camera. In person, it's much more diffuse lighting. I'm not sure why my camera picked it up that way. You know, that's, I guess, one of the good things about having a good camera. I just put this thin bead around here, and then I'm going to pop this acrylic right on. I'm just going to use my fingers to make sure that it's lined with all of the edges, and the Power-Tac is holding perfectly. Just going to give this a little press, and we'll be ready to move on to the details. I had already spray painted these pieces black. There's the outline or border, which is the same basically as the interior layers. And then I also spray painted the letters Boo that will also get glued on with Power-Tac. You can use whatever color acrylic that you want. You could even spray paint this white. I think it's just a cool design, and I plan on using this type of sign for the upcoming holidays. I think that you could pretty much find anything that would work. I mean, how cute would a Joy or Noel, anything that will go on one of my tiered tray displays or on a mantle, I think could be really cute. Or even a Santa Stop Here sign. That is definitely on my list for Christmas. These are just really cute and really easy to put together, and those fairy lights are so inexpensive that you can make a whole bunch of this, especially when you're making them small. Now, if you were making this lighted sign a little bit bigger, you're going to get a good bit of cost in materials. Of course, the cost of materials have just gone up this year. A piece of draft board is anywhere from $3 to $6, depending on where you buy it. That's for like the 12 by 20 sheets. So if you're making a sign where you can only cut out, 2 pieces or 1 piece per draft board, I mean, this is a pretty hefty price tag on this project. So that is another reason that I decided to make it small. I wanted to keep it affordable. This is something that you could easily sell at a craft show. You can also use the leftover draft board, which is inside those border pieces. You can use those to cut other things like earrings or small projects, but this is still big enough that it looks cute displayed. I'm just cleaning bits of the glue off and we're done. I'll check the lights and see what it looks like. I love it. I love that it kind of gives like that pinkish orange cast to it. Here's the total thickness. There's a little bit of glue. The back I also spray painted, and you can hide that light source. Look at that. Right, tuck it in behind wherever you're setting it, and you're good to go. I think anyone would love this as a display. You can even buy different fairy lights. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for being here, and make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my upcoming projects.